Okay. Oh, I gotta put the starting soon. There we go. Official.
Five years, 224 million. Yikes.
Okay. I need the link. Mm-hmm. I guess while I'm doing this, how did your audio sound, Ghost? I'm pretty sure throughout this talking has been sounding alright.
Yeah, should be good.
Now you test it, but yeah, it sounds alright. Um, Ace, how about you?
Check, check, check. How do I sound? How do I sound? Do I sound okay? Is my volume appropriate or no? Check,
Yeah.
check.
Yup.
Hey, you're good. You're where you need to be. And then how about myself? Does the audio sound clear? Does the volume sound appropriate?
Yeah.
Yep.
Before. Okay. Then if that's the case, we'll put this away. I think the names are gonna be screwed up even here. But it's all good. Yeah, names are hella screwed up. There's always something. Before. Oh, what did I put? Oh. Okay, good enough. All right, start recording in 3, 2. Okay. Put that up, put that away. Go back to here. All right, things are looking where they should be. Okay. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, everyone, to the Be Warm and Be Filled podcast. We're back. We're back, and we have not everyone, but we have most of the guys here. We have the guys, the crew, the gang. We had Ace.
So,
We got Ghost.
Yo.
And we got myself, Questlando. Guys, how y'all doing? How y'all feeling today?
pretty good.
All right.
Nice, and I'm feeling not too bad myself. Time recording. It's basically still the middle of the summer. Still got that heat wave going on. So I hope everyone's trying to maintain and stay cool. I can't see him right now, but I'm sure Ace has a whole hoodie on. So
I actually forgot to turn on my camera. I'm not hoodied up today.
fair enough. Dang, now that you turned it on, now you messed with the names. But it's all good. I'll fix it later. Yeah, but I'm glad we're back. We took a little, not we took a little, but it's been a couple of weeks, so I hope y'all are ready to come on here and deep dive into some of these topics. But before we do any topics or any stuff like that, some typical podcast intro stuff. Here on this podcast, we don't just give you great conversation, but we also give you dope new records to listen to. If you're in the market to look for some new songs. So in the description below, you can find a Spotify playlist for our song selections of the week. So if you're looking for some new artists, if you're looking for some new songs, definitely we recommend you check that out. Some of our personal recommendations for the week. And after the podcast, once we do a bit of editing, you'll be able to find just a list of all the artists and songs that we recommended for the week. If you look in the description below, you'll also be able to find timestamps if you just want to, look around throughout the podcast. Sometimes we go on throughout these podcasts to be hours long. If you just want to look around at some of the specific topics that we cover, we provide timestamps. And if you're even looking for the shorter content, if you go to our channel and you go under the video tab, you can find all our topic videos, condensed, sliced, and ready to just consume at your will. And I would say we've been pretty consistent with the uploads recently, trying to get something out. I guess I want to shift to like something like, not something, one of our topics, at least once a day. So that's how I'm kind of structuring it currently. And as always, if you guys or if anyone ever has any topic recommendations that would be worth us discussing, definitely forward to us, and we'll get it and give us our best shot at it. Now, before we get into the actual topics, we also like to provide, sometimes we come on here and give topic recommendations outside of music, whether it be shows, movies, books, podcasts, anything that we might have consumed content-wise. If we have it, we'll come on here and share it with y'all. Do we have anything?
Yeah, I got one. It's a show that I still haven't finished. Ghost. It's called Scavenger's Reign. It dropped on HBO maybe a year ago, and I had been checking for it ever since I saw the first trailer for it. But it recently got moved, or not, I don't know if it got moved, but it's on Netflix now. So I was finally able to start it maybe a month ago or over a month ago, and yeah, it's a animated series set in the future, and the basic plot is like a crew had to abandon their ship and ends up like crash landing on a alien planet, and they're just basically trying to get back onto the ship and be able to go home. But I think like what I like most about the series is the planet that they're on itself, and like how well developed and like fully realized it is, in my opinion. There's a lot of like creatures and plant life that the show will like show, but it's not necessarily for strictly for the purpose of like pushing the plot. It's just there's a lot of world building in terms of just the alien planet itself, and I like the level of detail that they put into that. But the characters are also good. There's like a lot of delving into character backgrounds and some weird, interesting like ways they approach that. Again, mixing that with the alien planet and how that affects them. There's some stuff about with AI too that's pretty dope. So, yeah, I highly recommend it. It's anybody that's into like sci-fi, I think would enjoy it.
Dope. Definitely gonna check it out. I had no clue it even existed until like a week ago from that
Dope.
teaser.
Yeah,
I think the way I actually saw that I found out about it was because apparently they're not renewing it for season 2.
Oh, great.
But I think they said that there might be some hope that it does get renewed because it was nominated for some awards or something. So fingers crossed, I guess.
Not sure.
dope. Well, we still like a good, it seems like a sci-fi recommendation. Shout out the title one more time.
Scavenger's Reign.
Perfect. Okay, dope. Is there anything else we have?
I will say real quick, I beat Devil May Cry 3 recently, and that's like it was an amazing game. Like you guys know how much I like character action games like Bayonetta, and this was
Nice,
like
nice decade-year-old game.
yeah, this was like the peak of character action. Just the crazy amount of stuff you can do, the depth to it, even though it seems like it doesn't it seems limiting at first, but when you start to understand like how you can combine all the moves together and cancel moves, it's just it gets so gets so deep. And I love a deep combat system. So yeah, for anybody who hasn't gotten into the Devil May Cry series, it's as good as everybody says.
You like it better than Bayonetta?
It's hard for
Any of
me to
them?
say, especially I don't have that many hours into it yet. I think Bayonetta's still gonna be like my all-time fave, but I don't know. It is giving it a run for its money. Like it's not it's not an easy no, it's not the best. Like it's quite freaking good.
Nice. It's always nice when you can knock a game off your list.
Yeah.
Cool. Dope. Anything else?
That's it for me.
I got something real quick. Um, the My Hero Academia manga, which I know Quest is very much aware of. I'm guessing you're basically caught up, but
Yeah. Don't come on. Don't
yeah,
come in and
it's
steal it.
yeah. I'm not gonna
It's coming
go
to
into
an
any
end soon.
details, but all I'm gonna say is that we're at the final arc. Well,
Yeah.
the final arc is pretty much wrapped up. The climax is just kind of like the after story epilogue, but I think it was executed very well. The final arc, and it is an extremely good manga. And I didn't have the highest, like I expected it to be good because I came from the show, and the show was like it's good, but there's some things they did that I think made it worse. But the manga is like it's it's exceptional, and the art in particular is
Man.
crazy. Like
Yeah.
I don't read that much manga, but I can like for action scenes I can put the manga artists in my top 5. To be honest, it's that good.
Yeah. You said it perfectly. And once this was all said and done, I was probably running an anime or manga podcast. But once it's all said and done, I was probably gonna come out here and give it a few words because like I have kind of effectively been like seeing like the beginning of it to now. How that must. I mean, it can't. It feels like mid college for me, but just seeing that and like the highs and the lows of it, not really giving it much of attention, and then realizing that hey, this thing really does really get good. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna give it some worth, and I'm glad you enjoyed it to some degree as well. Yeah, spoiler alert. I'm gonna be honest. The show. I'm not saying the show is all bad because, interestingly enough, I was talking to somebody recently about the show, and even though the show a lot of times is mid and they don't really hit the mark, especially in the art department, there are two clips in particular, two scenes from the show that come out of that show that are like some of the most iconic scenes in anime of all time, which we might show. I don't know if that's DMCA, but anyway, all that aside, yeah, if you are interested, yeah, it's something to definitely check out as it's approaching its end as for the manga. And actually, the show is actually almost over too. They're actually they're relatively close.
I'm curious, Quest, because I know you were an ultra mega hater of the MC at the start.
Deco, yeah.
You a Deku stan now?
I'm not Stan, but yeah, they obviously developed the character, and they're legit. Not my favorite pro tag of all time, but they're not like unbearable like how they were originally to me. Man, it sucks when you don't like the the protagonist of a show. That might be a topic one day too. A show where you didn't really like the main character, but you still liked it. Anyway. All right, good show. If there's nothing else, we can get right to the topics. I think there's nothing else. I always feel like I'm forgetting something. So let me go here for 1 second. Oh, I got my stock photo of the week. Oh yeah, I guess check out the YouTube when you get a second just to make sure that's actually running and we're not just wasting our breaths.
Yeah, I just checked it. I forgot to put it there.
All right, names aren't in the right place, but we do it live. Okay. I'll do that while we're into it. So, let's start off something relatively light. Don't even have to think too much about it, but a quick Twitter question of the week. But one that's kind of interesting nonetheless. Salute to the real my ex. Question of the week. If someone from 1990 suddenly woke up in 2024, our current year, what would surprise them most? So obviously that's, even though there's always that meme when we think about the 90s was 20 years ago. Nah, bro, that's 30 years ago. So I pose to y'all this very question. If someone from the 90s, specifically I get to the top of the 90s, woke up, they went in comatose, and they were knocked out for 30 years and they woke up in this year, what do you think would surprise them the most? I'll start off with you, Ace, being the oldest. What do you think would surprise somebody the most?
I think it would actually be the lack of, like, I don't know, not technology, but it doesn't look like we live in the 30 years into the
You think they would be
future.
expecting more?
Yes. Maybe not flying cars per se, but everything looks pretty much the same as it did in the 90s in terms of just like houses and, home design, interior design, things like that. Like, obviously styles have changed, but the technology around homes, not too much. I mean, even people with smart homes, it's still, it all looks like it did back then, for the most part.
The exterior, the structure, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and then like there's no like wall to wall screens on every wall or anything like that. Like, you remember Smart House?
Yeah, classic.
Yeah.
Although didn't the house look like a regular house? It was just the inside that was
The house
teched
did,
up.
yeah, the house did look regular, but like, but yeah, like you could just call up a screen on any wall, and like the house would cook for you and things like this. So, like that type of stuff is not really here yet, and I think somebody from the 90s being pushed 30 years into the future would expect that we would have that type of stuff.
That's actually a really interesting answer, and I definitely agree with you in the sentiment of like, yeah, when you look at the architecture, it's just definitely largely the same. I'm trying to think, and I feel as if whenever we're talking about like sci-fi, like media or like movies where this architecture just looks like a lot different, doesn't it take like hundreds of years?
Nah, I mean, Blade Runner is a perfect example where that was like, I mean, that was probably like 50 years into the future, because Blade Runner, the original movie, I think was set in 2019, and
All
it
the
came out
sci-fi
in the
movies are
70s.
we're currently living all the days of the sci-fi
Yeah,
movies.
Back to the Future came out
Exactly.
in the 80s, and I
Yep.
think it was it 20? It was pretty recently. It might
Yeah,
have been
yeah.
like 2020 or something that it was the future was set in.
Yep.
Yeah.
We ain't got no hoverboards, bro.
Exactly.
That's what I wanted to watch those movies. I wanted that hoverboard. That shit
Yep.
was fun as hell. We ain't got no flying cars. We ain't got no automatic clothing.
I feel like the
Yep.
engineer.
Exactly. Yep.
I feel as if the engineer in me, the hoverboard, it's just like not practical. It's like not practical. It's
Well, practical. It's cool. It's cool, bro.
fair enough. I guess.
Although it was kind of crazy that he's like propelling himself by just stepping on air like a regular skateboard.
Oh
But
yeah, I forgot about that.
Like I'm not saying we can never get there, but I just like I don't know. It takes a lot to. It takes a lot to fly.
man, throw some magnets on that thing.
That's what I said back in the day, but people laughing at the park.
I think somebody did that. Like somebody actually did that.
Man, they probably
Um,
done it, but it's probably like all jank and like they made jetpacks, but it has all these requirements and only specific people can fly it. Like no one
That's what I'm
cares about
saying.
that. We want
Like,
like the commercial
yeah,
application.
definitely.
But fair enough. How about you, Ghost? What do you think would surprise somebody the most if they, from 1990 to 2024, were sleeping and they just woke up?
I got the real answer for y'all. The real answer.
Oh,
The Warriors became a dynasty and won 4
oh my
championships.
God! Are you out of your mind?
Yo,
That would surprise them, though.
I'm joking, but I'm actually kind of just because they were like so dog shit. No, maybe the Patriots would be a better. I think the Patriots would actually be better because they were even worse than Warriors in the '90s. But
Yeah, they would be.
that aside,
They wake up expecting the Cowboys to be dominant.
I mean the Cowboys did win some championships in the '90s, but they ain't won shit since. If we're being serious, talk about like the average person. I don't know. I think that I get where you're coming from, Ace, and that there will kind of be a level of disappointment that we don't have a certain amount of things. But I think seeing some of like the items that we use on an everyday basis, like just smartphones, for example,
Yeah.
and how the internet is so widespread. I think that the internet is probably like the easy answer, but just how incredibly diverse and widespread it is. All the forums we got, apps that you can talk
Forums.
to people around the world. I think that's probably like it would probably wow someone if you just showed them, yeah, you can do all this on your phone that you couldn't even do on a computer back then.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's like a lot of technological things that we're kind of expected to have by now, like flat screen TVs or laptops, computers being smaller, probably expected. But like phones in particular, I think it's a pretty substantial breakthrough.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that comes to people's minds. Phones and even more so the internet. Just like everything is like just you just have it.
Yeah, streaming services and music, because you ain't got to worry about cassettes. You ain't got to worry about CDs. Got everything on one spot, one platform. But yeah,
Yeah. They might legitimately be surprised at a streaming service. Like they might not understand like the technology between like where is it coming from.
yep.
I like how it was. I mean, there's three of us. I like how it was diverse answers because in my mind, and I don't know if this is kind of like the corny woke answer, but in my mind, I think what would surprise a person the most is the difference in like I almost want to come in here, but we're only like this is like the first topic, so I don't want to use any language that's cancelable. But I think people would be surprised of how soft it's gotten. I'll keep it at that. And because whenever I think about like the '90s, even though compared to like other eras, maybe the '90s even pretty soft, and you did start to see a more liberal aspects in the '90s. But yeah, compared to now, like I think a person waking up would be completely shocked because again the '90s still had that element of like I always say whenever like I hear certain rappers like rap pretty like they don't care, like pretty much like they don't care. Like first thing that comes to mind is like, oh, he's rapping like this is the '90s. Oh, this guy's acting like this is still the '90s using certain words. So I think that's what I would be. I think that's what would shock people. Just like you can't say certain things these days, and the culture is it ain't the same.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of. The thing is, it's like I think a lot of things, in terms of when you think about the future, you expect you would expect higher levels of technology. So again, with Ghost Point, like the first thing that popped into my mind was the smartphone, but then I was like, but you would expect that. Like you, if somebody thinking about the future would be like, oh yeah, you'd probably be able to. You probably a computer would be probably the size of your hand, and like you got like that type of stuff. I think that's something that somebody could have thought up back then, or would have expected back then, and to see it, it'd be like, oh wow, this actually happened. I think it would be cool, but not necessarily a surprise.
Mm.
And then with culture, like on the one hand, I do agree that the culture and like some of the conflicts that we have culturally would be surprising. I don't necessarily think people becoming softer would be, because again, like in the future, you would expect more so that cultural I don't know, like I feel like I would expect more of an acceptance, or like technology would help people to solve some of the issues and some of the like the divisive things that have have arisen out of culture. So on the one hand, like while I do understand some of the cultural things would be surprising, it's I don't think you would necessarily expect like the the uh the like the aggressive culture that was prevalent in the 90s to remain, unless you expect like a totalitarian state or something like that, or just where it just got pushed to the extreme. um but yeah, that's like how I
But
frame the
potentially,
question
and
in
I'm
my
not
mind.
mad at that outlook. When it comes to the phones, maybe that element, but I still think the internet would knock somebody's socks off. Like I don't think there's any. I don't think media properly portrayed how the internet would evolve. Um, and when I said a culture, the one of the biggest reasons why I think that is because like, heck, you take people that are older, like older than our generation, that are like from the '90s, they can't even fully fathom how we got to where we are today and like how things are solved. Like some of these old heads be
Mm.
shocked when they say certain things online. They get like certain level of backlash. So if you just took someone completely blind and you woke them up in this day and age, I still think they would be for a rude awakening. Like I literally think they would say something and somebody would say, "Oh, you can't say that," and they would be shocked by that.
I got you. Yeah, that makes sense.
But
Yeah, I
yeah,
also did consume a lot of sci-fi, so that might that might alter my outlook on the future, like when I was a kid, what I
yeah.
expected.
Although, Ghost brought up, they probably would have still consumed Back to the Future, Terminator, so they wouldn't be fully. They wouldn't like those are pretty popular media pieces of media. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, ultimately, I think it's safe to say if you woke up 30 years later from whatever time you're from, you're probably gonna experience some level of shock and surprise. But yeah, if anyone in the comments or listening has any other ideas of what somebody would be surprised by if they went from the 90s to now, definitely let us know. But if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic.
The comments over here are pretty wild.
New breed of genders.
New breeds is crazy, bro. Of all the ways to phrase it,
Jesus Christ.
that's funny.
What is on that thing? Oh, is that the order? Oh, yeah, it is the order. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so I came across this clip not too long ago, and I guess I'll read what it says in the clip first. What would you would you want communication like this? So I guess we'll listen to it first before I get into my thoughts and questions on it.
Right back on that. So, big project deadline.
Okay.
Didn't realize it was coming this week. So I'm going to be more distracted, probably have to work late. So if I can just focus, it'll be short-lived. So this weekend, then I can plan something for us to connect and have fun together.
Hey, I was just getting the bags for the trip, and it made me realize we should probably get on the same page about how much time with your family, time relaxing, time just us. So do you want to have that conversation now? Just so you know, I started my cycle today, so if I seem short, snappy, tired, just have a little grace for me, okay?
Hey, I know this week has been a little more tense, so why don't we just have a family meeting and we'll get on the same page for the next week.
Okay, so I don't know why Instagram thought it was relevant to show me this, but it popped in my little "Are you interested in this?" feed, and it doesn't super surprise me because I not feel as if, but hey, this is like some of the content that people put out these days. These like couple dynamic, like how you should like productive communication styles and like dealing with your significant other in like peaceful resolution opposed to the beefing that you see like when you see meme pages and sitcoms and things of that nature. And the caption that the guy posted on the original post, it seemed people on the comments thought this style of communication felt cold and inorganic. Others find it extremely helpful. Where do you stand? So that's basically the question. Like you obviously see in this little clip of this couple, and they're showing different scenarios of which and just regular everyday life, and they're intentionally communicating what the potential issue that's going on in their life and how they want to just kind of quote unquote squash it now by having a conversation and just being clear about the situation. So yeah, it definitely what's the expression? Leaves out from, removes the space for any like what's the word? I'm kind of stumbling right now. It removes a chance of any like miscommunication or like any like lack of awareness for what the other person's got going on. But there was a comment specifically that I wanted to bring up. I don't know if you scroll down, logged in for some reason, the comment will pop up. But if not, I also posted it in the Discord. If you could pull that up real quick. Or no, I'll just read it. I don't need to. If you want, you can pull it up. But so somebody commented under this post, and again, if you're logged on Instagram, you can probably see it. I think it's one of the first comments. Somebody said, "Am I the only one that loves this? But at the same time, I'm realizing that this many rules to tiptoe around behaviors and reactions is just damn exhausting." And that is definitely something that has a bit of merit to it. Like, I mean, yeah. There it is for anyone that wants to read it along. Yeah, I mean, while it looks good on paper and I don't want to start loading my opinion, but it sounds good on paper to like, hey, every time you just kind of communicate, so there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Imagine a world in which you did this for every aspect, like. And I don't want to start getting, because depending on your answers, I might defend one side or the other. But yeah, the point they're basically raising that this could potentially be exhausting, having to fully every time something's arise, you have to talk about it. You have to how they describe tiptoe around certain things, and how there's rules in place in a relationship. A lot of people want more of it to feel over more ease, a lifestyle. But I guess in general, before I start babbling on, I want to know what y'all think about this. And I think the main thing that the caption asks is kind of the best way to ask it, but I guess there's also, do you find this, do you think this could be exhausting as well? But yeah, I guess the main thing is, would you prefer that communication style? And again, not just between like your significant other, but just people in general. Or do you think this is a bit much in general? What do you think, Ace?
Jeez. So yeah, I don't know. Disclaimer, like I haven't been in a relationship, so take my opinion with a grain of salt, but I think this looks like a good ideal to strive for, not necessarily something um to just like I don't know, like set as a hard and fast rule from jump. Like you have to if you're in a relationship, you have to communicate every little single thing that you feel is gonna, could potentially cause some type of issues, whether it's for the relationship itself or if it's just for, day to day life or anything like that. Um, I don't think it's something that you try to implement as a rigid thing. It's more like an ideal to strive for. Um, and I will also say that it shouldn't, like if a couple were to try to implement something like this, a system like this, quote unquote system, um, it shouldn't be where like they expect it to resolve all of their problems
Mm-hmm.
or like completely eliminate the possibility of um like a miscommunication or a misunderstanding or um even just negative feelings about something. Like the first example was the guy who's going to be working late or whatever, or yeah, working late on a project, and he'll try to make some time on the weekend or whatever
He's
once his
pulling an
client comes.
ace.
Yeah. um so while he has communicated that to the wife, and the hope is that she understands it, that is not necessarily going to be true. Like she still may have negative feelings about the whole thing. It doesn't guarantee that the wife is okay now. She knows, so she's got to be perfectly fine with it. No, that she's still a human. She still has emotions that she's going to be dealing with it about it, regardless if it's something that she feels negatively towards. um Planning the trip, there could still be some some things that come up more spontaneously that you didn't plan for, and you kind of just got to roll with the punches, or not punches, but like adapt to the situation.
Yeah.
um a family meeting, like now you're dealing with kids. The kids are not going to be doing everything you say, or maybe they're not
Well,
going to be able
depending on how you
to.
raising them kids, but sorry.
I mean, yeah, but your kids aren't going to be perfect, and not only in their actions but also in their communication. Like they're not going to be aces at this, even if you think you are. So there has to be the understanding that it's, again, even if it is an ideal we're working towards, we still understand that we are human and we are going to it is not going to solve all our problems. It's just something that we're implementing to try to help us towards better communication as a whole. Because I will say, like, I think communication is probably the most important thing in terms of establishing a lasting relationship or marriage
Sustainability, yeah.
or yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's all my thoughts on it.
Well, that was obviously well said. I think there's a couple of things that kind of sparked in my mind about what you were saying, but I guess before I get into it, Ghost, what's your thoughts on it? Do you think this is 100% the way to go when it comes to communication, or do you think you could see a world in which it is a bit like tiring to talk every last thing out?
Um, the communication aspect, I mean, it is helpful and it's not inherently a bad thing, but I I don't know if I would exactly use the phrase exhausting, but if I had to converse with my partner like that almost every day, that's so like clinical and like it feels like how I would talk to or how I talk to coworkers when I'm dealing with projects. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about my emotions. I'm just talking about specific projects, but outlining things A to B and planning from there. That's how I approach work. I do not want to approach my relationship in that fashion because it removes any spontaneity. It just kind of boils things down to, oh, I communicated X, Y, and Z, so
Wait,
you should be expected to do this in response to that. But like Ace said, it doesn't leave any room for okay, let's say something comes up that you don't expect and you won't be able to plan the trip, like Ace said, or what if you're working on that project late and your wife is also PMSing at the same time? So
Jesus.
y'all gotta communicate it back and forth, and you gotta. Oh, I'm gonna be a little extra testy because I have this project, and she's like, oh, I'm being a little more of a bad mood because I'm PMSing, and then that'll trigger. Dealing with your irritability is gonna trigger my thing. Like that's just not how people kind of work. I don't want to say it like that because it, I'm sure for some people that operate in that mind frame, a relationship like this would be ideal and something to strive for. But I don't know. I just feel like in general, documenting and planning every single facet of your relationships and your interactions just will become very tiring. And like I kind of want some of the things that like they're explicitly stating, I kind of feel like should just be implied or
Uh-oh. You know what happens when you get to it implying and assuming.
I get that, but like if I could see myself just saying like, "Oh, I'm probably gonna be working late for this week," and just leave it at that. And I get your point because in my mind that would kind of be like, okay, if I'm gonna be doing this, then my wife would kind of pick up on the fact that yeah, I'm gonna be a little less patient in some other aspects until this is resolved. But I'm not gonna, me personally, like I don't. And again, I've never been married, but I don't anticipate myself saying like explicitly saying like, yeah, I'm gonna be a little more snappy towards you and the kids, so bother me for an hour less a day. Like that's just a crazy way to frame it.
So how do you articulate when you're in a bad mood or when you might be in a bad mood?
I don't want to articulate it. If I'm in a bad mood, I don't want to be around other people. I
So
don't want to.
if you're in a
I
bad
don't.
mood, how does
I'm gonna
somebody?
keep to myself until I'm out of that bad mood, so it doesn't.
Jesus Christ.
But I'm doing it so it doesn't like I
The
don't
wife is gonna
take
be
anything.
this.
I'm doing it so I don't take it out on anyone. But like when I'm in a bad mood and I'm angry, like this is more of a personal thing, but I don't want to like actively call attention to it. Like, oh, you're in a bad mood. You need to do this, this, and that to address it specifically. I just kind of like let it blow over, which probably isn't the healthiest thing. But like, I'm not the type of person that would
Are you at
go.
least
This
gonna
to me,
are you at least gonna
the
articulate that
equivalent.
I need a second or I need a
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah. But to me, the equivalent is you get mad and you go out to one of those anger management. I can't forget what they call them, like the anger management rooms where you break shit and you do that. Like it feels like me being mad, going out, driving a half hour, getting suited up to break some stuff, and then that's supposed to resolve my anger. And after that, then it's supposed to be gone. Like it just feels like a very clinical and choreographed way to approach things that I personally don't find authentic, and I don't know. It's weird just why I don't like this sentiment in general of like documenting every single aspect of your relationship, even though on paper there's nothing wrong with it. But like, I'm not arguing against communication as a whole. I think it's very important. And some of the
Like I
things,
said,
like,
probably the most important.
yeah, it is. But like some of the things that were mentioned in the videos, like conversations I could definitely see specifically having with my future wife. But some of the other things, it's like, where does it end? Like, does it? Oh, you're making this for dinner tonight, so and I don't really like that. I'm gonna eat it, but I might be a little more hesitant, and I might be in a little bad mood afterwards because I'm not as full as like.
Uh,
I don't know. That's the way I think about it, but I don't know. So it's a weird one.
no, I genuinely enjoy how you reacted to it. Although obviously there's a couple things that come to my mind. Um, this is gonna go through the whole thing, so I guess all your responses, but it'd be remiss. It wouldn't be like me if I didn't ask. Uh, and maybe it's just an example, but why not just never, don't get mad? Like what? As a guy,
Okay.
like as a guy, you just control that shit. But anyway, from the real stuff, you also mentioned like you also mentioned like it removes some spontaneity from all of this. So you want a spontaneous relationship or relationships?
Um, some aspects of it, sure.
Like the
I mean,
trip, like the trip, planning the trip. That was too much.
no, not even that, because I don't think there's anything wrong
I
with.
feel as if trips should be the most. Hey, boom, boom, boom. We're like
Yeah,
trips should
like
be
that.
a lot of
I
margin for
like.
error.
Yeah, I like planning things out. Like when I say spontaneous, it's not really related to events. It's more so just you're anticipating how your feelings and how your reaction is going to play out, and operating based off of what you think is going to happen in that case. Like planning that aspect, like planning your mindset, I guess, is more so where I'm coming from.
I actually do understand exactly what you're not well, for the most part what you're saying because I think I was gonna say it seems like you tend to agree with the caption kind of like it's kind of inorganic and clinical I guess whatever you want to like to be going around and saying hey because of this thing I may feel this way I may feel a bit more moody I may feel a bit more snappy like that's kind of that that's not really realistic obviously if the situation warrants it I guess you could say hey like I guess one of the most realistic examples if somebody passed in your family hey like I'm going through this so whatever the case may be and maybe even according to you maybe a person should just get it and you're going to take some time for yourself but yeah I can understand that aspect of it I think it definitely is more applicable just to give somebody an idea of what the the situation could be again I think we're all on board with the first part about like hey I'm going to be at work I'm going to be busy at work so I'm not going to necessarily have time for you maybe I guess that would be something that's reasonable but yeah, no, I definitely you're not totally just tweaking. Um, damn, there's one other thing I was gonna say. Um, whatever, I guess maybe. Yeah, I think for the most part, it is some the room for it to be have a communication style like this is something I guess is ideal and what a lot of people would want. One other thing I was gonna ask: Do you would you be okay on the opposite end goes if your partner kind of had the same mentality as you, where like some things don't need to be spoken? I'm just gonna like deal with it. Like
Yeah,
if
and
you had a
like when I say that, like I get it could very easily spiral into why aren't you understanding exactly what I'm thinking, which is not my intent. It's more so just like I have a basic threshold or level of knowledge of my partner and empathy towards how they feel, and I kind of expect that to be reciprocated in some aspect. and it's not necessarily going to play out the same way that I would do it, but just the fact that it's there, like, it's something that it's not going to be like if I tell her that I'm going to be working late for the next week, like she just flies off the handle or doesn't understand it all and just says, "Oh, just cancel that shit," or "You ain't got to work." Like, that's kind of an extreme case, but something like I would just expect a base level of understanding, and I know that that's not going to be like an instantaneous thing, and that my partner's immediately going to get me, or I'm immediately going to get my partner, but it's something to work towards, and that's why I'm not like completely throwing their way of communicating out the window.
Yeah.
But I think that it can get to, there's a point that it can reach to where it just becomes a little too much. Mm-hmm. And one other thing I want to just throw out there is that it's kind of bad to feel this way, but this type of communication and dealing with your partner kind of feels privileged because a lot of people, like, I feel like you have to, if we're going to balance out like the good and the bad in a relationship and your life in general, you got to be living a pretty comfortable life to be able to deal like this, because you don't have a lot of adversity and difficulties to go through to have to deal with this on a constant basis. Like, if there's always going to be some level of stress related to your situation, there's always going to be something happening, which for a lot of people that's kind of the case. You don't really have the luxury of delegating your time and your feelings and all of that, to be honest. Like, I don't know.
I do see what you're saying.
Yeah, in an ideal world, like, we'll be comfortable, we'll have a steady career, steady job and all that. But if I'm living check to check and we're in a very bad situation that it's going to take years to claw ourselves out of, like a lot of people have gone through, I don't think that just telling them, "Oh, I'm gonna be PMSing, so I'm gonna be in a bad mood. Just leave me alone for a little bit today," or I'm gonna be more irritable because I got this on my mind. It's like, yeah, but we got X, Y, and Z to deal with, so I get that you're not gonna be in a good mood, but you're gonna have to suck it up anyways. Like, that's what a lot of people have to deal with. And I'm not saying it, I'm not trying to be brusque or like insensitive, but it's just a lot of people have to deal with tons of shit on a day-to-day, and it's not fun or pleasant. You just gotta kind of suck it up. And
Jeez.
If every single aspect of unpleasantness in your life was communicated and documented back and forth, it would be insane. Like, I can't imagine it.
Never.
Like, imagine you're living in the ghetto and you're like, again, you're worried about your lights being shut off, and your partner's coming to you with something. I would be like, man, I don't want to hear that. I'll try to make sure that we got a place to stay. To like, and again, I'm hopefully the goal is that none of us are in the situation, but a lot of people, I'm just saying, do not have the luxury of healthy communication in this aspect.
You're muted, Ace, but geez, never are you saying that healthy communication is not for the have-nots and the people that are struggling.
Communicating like this in such a sterile way is kind of a privilege. I'm gonna be honest.
That's
even though it sounds rough, he's not lying.
Bro, I'm kind of being real here.
When you're in a comfortable position in life, you can. That's when you can. No, it's because it's like the same mentality of like the people that are a bit more well off are typically people that pursue like counseling or therapy like that, or healthy practice. The folks in the ghetto, we got light bills. We got but they got shit going on. I'm gonna be honest. It sucks, but he ain't wrong.
I'm thinking of some of the scenarios.
So knowing that communication is the most important thing in relationships. And if we agree that like striving towards this or something like this with the caveat that you're going to understand that your partners aren't perfect. They're still going to make mistakes. You're still going to make mistakes. You're basically, and I mean, maybe this isn't wrong, but you're basically saying the relationships for less well-off people are more likely to fail.
They'll definitely be a bit more tumultuous. We know we can't
Yeah, I
play
mean,
games around that.
that's true in like an objective sense. I'm not even trying to frame it like successful versus unsuccessful relationships and what the causes and effects of that are. I'm just kind of trying to approach it from like a realistic viewpoint of what is actually going to happen in a relationship if they're not living like. I mean, they look. I can just looking at their kitchen, you can tell they are very well off.
Yeah, they look like they got an island, good kitchen
no,
space.
Size of my apartment.
I get it. I do get the point. Um, but I guess I will say that like when I look at something like this, I don't look at it as necessarily copy it exactly as shown in the video. Like there, the I I automatically kind of like transfer it into the more realistic aspects. Like take away from like whatever your situation is, take away from the ideal as much as you can. So like
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's struggling, you know, again, pay the light bills, pay the bills regardless, or whatever those bills are. Um, low income, you still have things to plan for, to do on a day to day. You got kids. That's a lot of a lot of planning, a lot of just stuff to be on top of on a day to day basis. So there's still a lot of practical application of this that you could take away and implement into your relationship. It doesn't necessarily have to be to the depth of like every time I am going to be feeling a negative emotion, I relate it to my partner. But um, for depending on your situation, depending on the um, the impact of whatever is affecting you, like bigger bigger things that are affecting you in a very negative way should still be um, communicated, or I think like that's the ideal you should strive towards, because
Mm-hmm.
again, like you, it's the most important thing.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you framed it better than I have. I think my hesitation with this whole thing is it feels fake and it feels kind of like a setup. It's something that it feels like a marriage counselor would tell a couple they need to implement, and they do it for a week, and then it just goes by the wayside. But if you strip away and the fact that it's recorded too, it's anytime I see any type of family interactions recorded, I just get very put off by it. But taking all that away, taking away the skepticism,
Some
I
people
do
in
agree with
unhealthy
your take
relationships
on the
need
value.
it. Need stuff like this. They on TikTok or on Instagram all day, so hopefully they bump into this.
Yeah, this is preferable to some of the alternatives we see in our community a lot, sadly. I will
But
say
yeah,
that.
but yeah. Ultimately speaking, when it comes to the conversation and communication, it's obviously one of those things we go on for hours. You know, healthy communication styles, unhealthy communication styles, what communication looks like after a certain time, knowing people's personal communication styles, all that jazz. And yeah, definitely from like listening to the conversation and just thinking about this clip more and more, I think it's like, I mean, like a lot of things. Like I always say, the Corslando motto: things are like waves, in the sense that I think that when you're starting to meet a person, not even like in a romantic relationship, just in a personal relationship basis, Like you're all gonna start off kind of like being relatively pleasant, and then depending on how the relationship progresses, you might have to uh, at some points be more mindful of communication, or maybe it just comes more naturally. And also, it got me thinking like, even though I think like we said, this type of style, not the way they're specifically framing it, but this type of style would be healthy. You look at people that have been married for like or together for like 40, 50 years, like grandpas and grandmas. They don't communicate like this.
Yeah.
Like they are on like a couple words basis, or they don't even need to talk to each other to know like what exactly their intentions are and their thought process are. So, this is definitely beneficial for some aspects of a relationship, but as the relationship more progresses, then you just get to a situation which this is not even needed. And I think that's probably the ultimate space you want to be in, but you don't get that there overnight. You do gotta take a little of this. But I digress. Yeah, definitely a really great insight on y'all end. If there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic though. Okay, salute to Angela Rye, and they're in. Well, I don't know if they're on it all the time. I think the other hosts may run it a little more on a usual basis. But salute to Angela Rye, salute to the Native Land podcast. Yeah, they have a pretty dope podcast, and this clip came across my timeline regarding social media, and the little caption on the video was social media making us dumber, which everyone would agree to, but let's kind of hear their analysis or assessment of it.
Sound a bit elitist, and I'm on social media, so I put myself in this, but I know a lot of people who are not on social media. If they are, it's minimal. They don't really participate. And if I could draw a line, I think the people who are not on social media are far intellectually superior. And it's for me anyway, in conversations I have, because you're not spending your time on Instagram or TikTok. Like, these people read more, and not like papers, but they like read books and know about history, and they're just consuming information in a different way. I know I scroll through and I think, oh, well, I wasn't invited to that, and oh, she looks so cute in that outfit, or oh, I need to lose weight, or oh, her makeup looks good. It's a constant criticism or just posing yourself in somebody else's life, and it makes such a difference when you stay present with people. But on the social side of it, I wish we could all self-regulate.
Bars, really, to be honest. And like I said, like the overall sentiment is something I don't think many people would disagree. So I think we can just move on to the next topic, right? And maybe y'all are surprised by this, but I feel as if y'all aren't. I'm gonna be honest, I'm coming out here and I know maybe I'm kind of putting my hand up a little too early, but I almost I don't want to say 100%, but for the most part I disagree with this. Specifically in regards to, but like, even though you might see the trend that people that consume social media maybe aren't as intelligent, or aren't like, they're a bit out of the loop when it comes to some like I don't want to say educational aspects, but intelligence in a way that we had more so before. I also think, depending on how you use it, social media is a tool that, and the internet has allowed people to expand their minds in ways that we've never been able to before. But before I get into it, that's just my reasons. Maybe I'm off the marker. I want to know what y'all think. Do y'all agree with the sister that social media makes people dumber? It's like the age-old question. What do you think, Ghost?
To give a simple answer, I would say yes, in a sense. I honestly agree with her take for the most part. There's give and take with social media. I think, for me personally, like, this has come from someone for who has I don't know if I have any actual like real social media accounts. I got burners that I use to stalk, and that's about it. I very
Jesus.
rarely
I don't know why you
I
frame
don't
it like
really
that,
like
but
uh communicate or I don't know what the right phrase is, but I don't like care about like putting in my 2 cents as far as like commenting on posts. For the most part, I mostly just I'm there to observe. But
that's a
that
way
being
better word than
said,
stock.
yeah,
They about to call you baby reindeer.
I think that reference would hit more if I was a little more up to speed. But social media is very good, very useful, and important for giving perspective. For me specifically, like a lot of the times, like I mean, I have my sisters and I have my mother, but I'm not like getting into the heads of
What
how a
person?
woman will approach a
Oh,
specific
okay.
situation.
About to say, what insight are you
And
getting from your moms?
why does that concept seem crazy to you?
I
Even
guess
if it was
I guess I'm specifically thinking on culturally relevant and
oh, okay, okay,
or like
okay.
history or things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I'm thinking of more like if someone's relaying their experiences and how they think about certain things, and uh, if they're in a scenario, how would they approach it? Social media is excellent for that because just anecdotally hearing stories and uh, what would you do in this situation, and this happened to me, and this person was saying that to me. A lot of the times, there's certain things that I just would not have considered or wouldn't have even crossed my mind until I hear someone else say it, and then I hear it, I'm like, yeah, from that perspective, that makes a lot of sense. And just on a base level, that's an extremely important thing to be able to relate to people that are outside of your sphere and that you kind of wouldn't have had that opportunity to do as well without social media, because people aren't just going up to you and spouting off some random secret story that happened to them, because that's just not how people work. But if you're scrolling and you come across a Twitter post or a Reddit post and like, oh, XYZ story happened to me. And yeah, they're just telling to get off their chest, but there's still a lot you can glean from that. So that I think specifically is a super good tool, a super good thing to take from social media. But on the flip side, I think that it's very easy to get lost in the weeds with like if you're getting information from social media, if you're getting news from social media, if you're consuming them stupid ass who's paid at a restaurant posts,
Oh yeah.
like bro, a lot of the stuff that's on social
uh,
media is just pure brain rot, and
Absolutely.
it's absolutely pointless to even get involved with, but we still do it. And I mean, I'm guilty of it too, but it's just like some of the stuff, it's like, I'll sit back and like, why am I watching this? Why am I interacting with this, or why am I even giving this a time of day? Because it's pointless, but it provides that base level entertainment that keeps me occupied or entertained. So I'm tuning in when I shouldn't be, and that's where I think what she's talking about in like actually conversing with people, dealing with people in person on a day to day basis can provide something that social media does not. It's
You
perspective in a different
you
way.
can't get brain rot from talking to the average person.
I mean, you can, but it's like if someone says something stupid to you, you can be like, you probably think to yourself, yeah, that's stupid, and you'll go about your day. But if someone online says something stupid and you got 100,000 people backing it up and giving their justifications for why this stupid thing isn't that stupid, and then that's when you start to get a little wrapped up in it, and you got people going back and forth in the comments arguing this way and that way. And that's not to say that every opinion that you encounter is that's opposed to yours is going to be wrong, but there's some stuff that is just like it's really really dumb. But the more you get exposed to these dumb takes, the more they kind of take root, and when they shouldn't be, and it can spiral into very very foolish territory, very dangerous territory if you let it. And it's super easy to let that happen on social media versus other mediums of communication and dealing with people. So I don't know. I for the most part agree with her take. There's a lot of good, I should say, that can come out of being online, social media, the internet, but when it comes to certain things, just dealing in person and reading books and getting information from a source that isn't, like, you don't know if it's made up, you don't know if it's AI, someone could literally just be spouting bullshit, but it has that where usually you would just ignore this info because you don't know where it came from. If 100,000 people are agreeing with it, then you might be inclined to agree with it as well, even though you shouldn't be. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, a lot to unpack in there. Again, before I, kind of do some of the pushing back, I want to know what you got to say about it, Ace. I guess, are you on the sister and at this point Ghost's side that social media is making people dumber?
Yeah, I mean, in the way that she framed it, I agree pretty much 100%, and that is mostly from my own experience with myself. Like, and I interpret what she said as almost purely like the time used or put into social media to consume content that is vapid and not beneficial. She was just mentioning like looking at people's weight and um what they're dressed in and things like that. Like if you're pouring hours into that, you could be using that time in a more useful and productive
But we
way.
don't think a person that is inclined to have those thoughts when they see it online is inclined to have it in IRL as well.
Um
Like if you're in a social, if you're in a social setting and you're looking around at folks and you see this person just got a new car, or you see this person just got invited to this or has this opportunity or is losing weight, like
mhm.
is that why? What about social media creates that opposed to a person just already having that no shade to the person but insecurity about things in life?
Well, I didn't see it as like that was the equivalent from the way she was explaining it. Like the time that you spend on social media, you if if you weren't if you weren't spending that time on social media, you would be interacting with people in real life. Like she just said, she pours hours into social media, and then instead of like reading books, or I don't know if she gave any other examples, but to me it would be, instead of doing something with your phone, you'd be doing something else that um that is still like immediate. It's not necessarily going out the house and um like replicating what you would be doing on social media. It's just spending your time in a more, like you would more naturally spend your time in a more productive way. So when
Fair
I
enough.
equate that to myself, like I've done that too, where I've noticed, okay, for me, I don't really use social media, but I do consider YouTube as a form of social media in the way I use it,
It
because there
definitely is.
is, yeah, there is, you can get into the whole mindless scrolling, just looking at shorts and random videos and stuff like that. So, pop the balloon, for
Oh
example.
my god.
So,
Now that's gonna rot your brain and make you feel self conscious. Absolutely.
so yeah. But when I deliberately say, okay, I'm gonna stop using YouTube like I am, put the limit on myself. No using YouTube on my phone, for example. I just automatically start gravitating to reading again, or playing guitar again, or just trying to learn something new.
Yeah.
And it's not even like I have to put much effort into it. It's like I'm not going to use my phone, so what else am I going to do? And I look around, I got plenty of stuff I can, um, occupy my time with that is way more useful than just scrolling senseless, or useless videos. Um, so yeah, that's like how I'm interpreting what she's saying
Mm-hmm.
about social media making people dumber. Um, of course, on the flip side, I do think there are benefits to, for example, YouTube, when not used in the way that I just described, just scrolling videos senselessly, like looking for something with a purpose. If you're looking up, tutorials on how to, learn a specific thing, or even if you're, trying to just dig into like historical topics and things like this. Um,
You already know where I'm going with this, or I would go with my part.
I don't, but I'll just finish my point. I do think there are definitely useful. Um, I mean, yeah, there's benefits to social media in that way. Um, and then again, like me personally, I do use Instagram very specifically to follow rollerbladers that I like, and artists that I like drawing artists, because that inspires me not to just keep scrolling, but to want to get out and rollerblade, or to want to draw. So it's something that like pushes me off the platform, kind of, or gives me inspiration, and then again pushes me off the platform. Um, so like there are concerted ways that you can use social media, um, to that don't make you dumber, that are useful, but you have to be extremely deliberate about it, because, or at least I do, because it's very easy to fall into the just mindless scrolling.
Yeah, I mean, what comes to my mind, there's kind of two things I want to hit, but what comes to my mind is like, if you, and I'm glad you did it, if you're already bringing in examples of when you use it to your benefit, both for potential entertainment and or for informational purposes, then how do we not say this is more of a user issue than a issue of the actual media or platform? Like it's
because
go ahead.
because the platform's goal is to keep you on the social media. It wants you to be on there as much as possible, with no
I mean,
regard to what you're actually consuming. Like, it just wants you to be on there.
that's
So
true. Just like how like a store's intention is for you to stay in there and shop, or like I don't know. I guess and consequently, like a library's objective for you to be there, stay in there, and read. Like every platforms or systems goal for you is to use it as much as possible. But it's still incumbent on the user to take what they need from it and go about their day.
okay,
And another thing, because I got don't worry, this clip has more in it. And I'm really trying to be like objective about this, but and I'm not trying to be like a book bigot, but this whole thing about like, okay, if I'm not on social media, I can spend more time in reading. One, that might not even be realistic for a large majority of humans, but I think like I don't know. I don't want to say it's archaic, but we're just not. We're just not.
Bias is showing, bro.
We're just no. I'm being super real. We're just not there currently in this day and age. Like we've moved past the like the era or need for like all our information coming out of a book that's written by somebody. Like we have so many other ways to consume content information. Obviously, like you mentioned, YouTube is one of the great examples. There's so many channels that provide so much informational content, whether it be current or history, that I personally consume and use. And then like even on some of these more smaller scales, like you could watch a quick short like how it's made TikTok or Instagram reel, or like something like something that come across your timeline, whether it be more activity or sports based thing, whether it's more informational, whether it's more like finance or entrepreneurial, and like that motivates you or gets you in the mindset of any of these respective things. And then like again, it becomes incumbent on the user to like interact with that piece of information, and that yeah, that piece of information, that content, the way it would make sense for that user. I think what I'm trying to say is like, I don't think it's the most healthy or like realistic thing to have the mindset of like, oh, if we take away social media, people are going to go into these other systems or platforms that's going to wholly benefit them more off. I think if a person's more inclined to be the person that takes information and is productive with it, they're going to do that with social media or not. Like you take social media away from the people, from the people that we're talking about, they're just going to occupy their time with other things. So it's just going to be TV or just like wasting their time on something else. Is like how I see it.
So, okay, I mean, if you're saying that, I should say it this way. I guess I was framing this more in terms of my own experience.
Which is
Again,
fine.
in
Although
that,
you still got to think about it in a general sense as well.
no, you're right, you're right. In that when I do not spend time on social media, I spend I definitively spend my time in a more productive um way. But again, that is with the caveat that it's when I'm trying to avoid the mindless like scrolling and the just consuming um content that is completely like useless. Just not, not deliberately searching for things that um are relevant to um my life or things that
Yeah, it seems
I'm
like
creating.
when you're trying to avoid mindlessness in general, like you can consume yourself with other things that are mindless outside of social media, but you are a
You
person where it seems
can,
like you're um you're predisposed to, you're not gonna waste infinite amount of time on certain things.
but the isn't there, like, to me, the point of saying social media is making people dumber is like, if I were to say that, or if I were to espouse that idea, I would, my goal would be to convey that, again, like, the social media platforms are designed to keep you on there regardless of what you're watching.
Mm-hmm.
It just wants to keep you engaged, and because of that system, there is um there's almost like an incentive to push things, to push videos to you that are again, like, more likely to keep you engaged,
Okay,
clickbaity titles,
I see where you're going.
clickbaity thumbnails. So in my, like, in me telling somebody else, or trying to get across the idea that social media it has this negative um I don't know, like, context, or almost like design philosophy to it, it would be to explain that limiting your use of social media and trying to be more deliberate about how you use it, how you spend the time, avoiding just going on there just to go on there, but going on there with a specific intention, searching for a specific video, whatever, like, using it in that way is better. So I agree with you that it is on the user, and I don't think I would ever say just like social media shouldn't exist, but there is a very there's a very important point, I think, that does have to, or that should be um made more um prominently known about social media, that like, there is this inherent um issue with it that needs to be acknowledged and um deliberately, like, I don't know, worked around, or um you need to approach it with intention to avoid just falling into this mindless cycle of just vapid, like, entertainment for
Yeah,
entertainment sake.
obviously, obviously, we see what you're saying, and yeah, I think most people would agree with that. I guess it kind of gets into semantics. I guess the more accurate way to kind of express this issue is like uh excessive use and or um lack of self awareness of how it's impacting you of with social media is what makes people dumber. I guess
Right.
is like the caveats to all this, but again, I guess if you
But that's not a clickbaity title.
yes yeah ironic it all gets back to what social media does. Yeah, 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 yeah. That make I think I get on board with that. Again, like we're saying, a lot of it is on the user, because I guess this just not one to one, but in the same vein, it's just like I don't know. Couldn't one stretch it and say like the point of a really good author is to keep you invested in that book, so you're not spending time on other stuff.
It's not as predatory,
Yeah.
bro. Like these social media sites.
So
like,
now
their
social media is
whole goal-
predatorial.
Yes, their whole goal is to monopolize your time. However,
Everything's goal is to monopolize. That's what I'm trying to say.
nah, bro, it's different. It's just
If you're watching TV, they want your time.
Yeah,
if you're
okay,
going to the
that-
store, they
that's-
want your time and money. Like there's no, I guess, business or entity that once they have you in it, they want you going off away from it.
But the thing is, you're correct, but with those other things, there's an expectation that at some point, like, you can't stay at the store for 24 hours. You can't take a TV everywhere with you. With social media, with phones, like, it can literally monopolize every second of
Dang,
your
I wonder
day.
what's the world record for being on social media.
It's kind of, it's hard to qualify specifically, but it is different, and yes, it is predatory, and I'm not gonna go and say it's malicious. Well, it's malicious in a sense, but we live in a capitalist society where it's all about finding whatever way to make money. So I understand, even though if I don't agree with it, but it is predatory. Like, that is, to me, undeniable.
I will say,
And a lot of other things are too, but it's not as severe.
I will say, like, an interesting discussion that we could have is, like, for me, one of the things I realized is that I was spending a lot of time watching videos about content that I had never consumed, and like get people's opinions on it, and like just have these opinions formulated on books or movies or whatever,
That can definitely
um,
be dangerous.
and not consume it for myself. So that was like literally one of the or has been one of the triggers for me to say, like, why am I doing this? Like, why don't I just read the book for myself, or why don't I just watch the movie and formulate my own opinion? And like,
Yeah, you gotta watch the
um
movie first.
what you say?
So you gotta watch the movie first, and then you go watch the
Yeah,
the deep dive lore video on it.
yeah, exactly. But at the same time, some of the stuff I'm watching, like, it's not, or the books that I would read, it's fiction, it's fantasy. Like, there's no, like, what would you can't really say like it's making me smarter, or it's making me more informed about the world, or anything like that, in a very specific way. Although I do feel like there is benefit that comes from it. It's hard to put my finger on what specifically that benefit is. So if somebody were to say, you know, well, if the person spends this time just reading fantasy books or fiction books or whatever, instead of being on social media, there's no difference, or there's no like, it's not helping them in any, you know, more significant way. It would be hard for me to argue against that. And I don't know, Ghost or Quest, if you have a if you have a different opinion about, or an opinion about, like, things that don't seem to inherently have um value still having value. Like, what is that value of watching a movie or reading a book that isn't grounded in, I don't know,
Yeah,
realism or whatever?
yeah, that gets into a whole separate like topic. But yeah, I mean, fundamentally, I think a lot of people genuinely agree. Like, you know, entertainment is like something that is an inherent or can be an inherent benefit to humans. Consuming things that we genuinely enjoy. I feels I feel that's the primary reason why Ghost would enjoy itself, because if he's feels if it's educational, then it's not gonna work. But Ghost aside, yeah, I think there's nothing inherently wrong about consuming things for entertainment, for sake of entertainment. Obviously, it can go into a destructive path, potentially even easily. But it just depends on the respective person.
But yeah, I mean, maybe it's just the intention thing too. Like, when I was watching those videos, it was more to just literally like fill time, or um uh yeah, just fill time. Like,
It's a
instead of,
distraction.
yeah, instead of going at like reading a book and trying to understand.
Yeah, which you're active, even though it's not inherently like useful, you're
Yeah,
actively consuming this thing and deliberately doing it versus
right.
just accidentally. That's why I had to uninstall all these, like, all these apps. I have to uninstall on my phone because I will literally just be sitting there and open it up mindlessly and be like, "What am I doing? Why did I open this up?"
Yeah.
Versus with a book, like, I'm not necessarily improving my life when I go and find a book to read, but at least I'm making the effort myself. It's not something that I just encounter.
That's that's the
So,
only element. That's the only element of this I can't fully co-sign. Like,
my God. Well, okay,
just
a movie then, because apparently you say book and it
no,
just triggers you.
I'm not again. That's why I'm my book by side. I'm trying to say, like, I don't think there's anything that is inherently or can't fulfill the same not intent, but fulfill like what people get out of social media. Like, if we're calling it like brain rot, just like the average going down your timeline, just going to video, just like scrolling, like none of it's actually providing any informational value, or maybe even entertainment value. You're just doing it, like you said, to pass time. Like that, and I know it sounds crazy, but I think that can happen while reading.
No,
Like,
you're right. You are
there's
right.
obviously
You are
books
right.
that aren't
Yeah,
necessarily
yeah, yeah.
wholly fulfilling. They're just like it's just like a catchy story, and maybe it's kind of salacious or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, right. You are right about that.
But I think you guys do propose a valid rationale. Social media is probably where the most growth form of it. I can get on board with that. Because yeah, even for myself, like I'll get on. And it's kind of weird to defend social media. Like, I don't think social media needs to be defended. But yeah, even me, I've definitely made conscious efforts to, like, I don't like getting to that scrolling through shorts or reels or TikToks. I think, like, literally, like, it was there's one day in time where I was like if a video comes across my timeline that I want to consume, that's good. But I don't want to scroll to the next one and get lost in that. I don't like that. And yeah, it's for like the time aspect of it, because you really do get lost when you just keep going down that reel, and I don't like that. So obviously I'm not obtuse to what just talking about what you guys are talking about. Yeah, the biggest one of the story is you have to be the biggest. You have to be conscious of how you consume social media and media in general, and you have to be the biggest, like, they said a word that kind of encapsulates what I'm thinking, but you have to self police yourself when it comes to that, because yeah, you can definitely get lost into it. But don't go blaming social media for all your issues. Social media is not the reason why you're dumber. It's you need to take some accountability. But if nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. All right, what article is this from? The Independent, not the Independent from the UK. Tenacious D's Kyle Gass deletes Instagram apology following Jack Black's riff over Trump's assassination comment. So, if you're completely uninformed, which you probably would be a bit more informed if you're on social media, cough cough. But I guess if you watch the news, you'll probably be even way more informed. On July 13th, there was an attempted assassination, or assassination attempt on Donald J. Trump, former president / current Republican nomination. He got blitzed up, but he survived. And there was a lot of, obviously, this is, what's weird? I don't want to get to the whole thing, the whole tangent. Even though it's the biggest story probably in the world, at the same time, doesn't it not necessarily feel that crazy in the grand scheme of life right now?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the news and I was like, damn, that's crazy. And that was about it, to be honest.
Yeah. It's almost like, just given the time and the fact that, I mean, in theory, there have been literal presidents that got assassinated. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of chaos in this world, and I don't think this got anybody to be like just stop in the moment and like really think about everything. But anyway, so yeah.
Wait. I maybe I disagree a little bit. Like when I think about it, it is like pretty insane. Like,
which is
I don't
fine.
know.
Which is fine. I'm not saying this for everybody. I'm just saying, like, I think for a lot of people, again, this is again the biggest story potentially in the world. I just don't think it's so unfathomable. Like, this is like people are super shocked that this could ever happen.
Okay.
But yeah, again, when I first heard the news, my first thought wasn't, wow, this dude almost got killed. It was, damn, this is going to help his his nomination run for office. That was my first thought. Like, it's just kind of like, at this point, it happened. Yeah. It was kind of crazy, but yeah.
But anyway, let me not go off the rails too crazily. And you actually kind of brought the story, so I guess I'll kind of pass it to you. But yeah, it seems like in the wake of the assassination, there was a whole bunch of commentaries on it. Every news station and pundit was talking about it. Everybody was weighing in. Obviously, like you had mentioned, like some people are probably put a battery in a lot of people's back to actually vote and or back up Trump. Some people obviously feel differently. Some people kind of, I don't want to say jump out the window, but it looks kind of sus when they're going as far as say stuff was staged. And you just have people making jokes, like the vast majority of social media, which is why I'm kind of surprised this is even a story. But apparently today, like I read in the Untitled Tenacious D, Kyle Gass, Tenacious D is the group of I never knew that guy's name, but Kyle Gass is group with Jack Black. He made some jokey jokes that he later had to recant. So what's the question here goes?
So, long story short, he said, yeah, I'll read it directly. It was his birthday, and he said, make a wish. And Jack Black said to Kyle Gass, make a wish, and Kyle Gass said, don't miss Trump next time. And this is on the night of the shooting.
Jeez.
And yeah, so after that happened, Jack Black released a statement that basically said, "We don't condone this. We're we're not with wishing harm on a political candidate." I'm paraphrasing here. And Kyle Gass did not share the same sentiment, and it seems that they came at odds or whatever, and all the future creative ventures for Tenacious D are put on hold. Kyle Gass has since put out an Instagram post for an apology and then recanted it,
Damn.
basically saying that, yeah, actually I did mean that shit. But my question isn't really directed at all this hoopla.
What did he
It's more
mean?
so-
Did he mean did he mean I can joke about this, or did he mean homeboy shouldn't have missed?
Uh, I don't know. Maybe the article says, but I kind of feel like he's saying both.
Jesus.
Yeah. So my question is more so about the initial remark itself, because yeah, it was a joke, but in a lot of people's minds, it's a joke in poor taste because you're literally making quips about a man being killed. But on the flip side, if this was Biden who this happened to, I feel like none of us would be surprised if there were some Republican sentiments that were along these lines. So my question is there someone, or do you have any thoughts on if someone in your mind is morally reprehensible enough to deserve death, or if not deserve death, deserve jokes being made about it and you not having any remorse towards it, even if they may be a bad person? And if something like this did happen to you, would you stand on it? Stand on a comment like that and like actually believe it, or do you think that it's going too far?
Good topic. Good topic.
Fair enough. What do you think, Ace?
This is very tough. Yeah, if we pull it outside of the politics and just try to look at, is there a hypothetical person, or not even a hypothetical person that I could be fine making jokes about their death? Would I do that?
Any dictators, current or past? You want to know the stupidest thing that my mind equated this to was, it is not a 1-to-1, but the whole Joker killing the Joker argument in comics. Killing the Joker.
Killing the Joker.
Like when Batman doesn't kill the Joker because of the principle and we gotta be better than
yeah.
them. But people always say, yeah, you gotta kill him because he's responsible for X, Y, and Z amount of pain and suffering. It's kind of a trash equivalency, but that's where my mind jumped.
No, yeah,
Like,
I
don't
mean
know
that's
if
not
it's any...
that does that adds something to it, because I do think about I think joking about somebody's death versus versus deliberately making attempts to bring about their death are very different things.
Yeah, those aren't even
And
comparable. What?
yeah,
Well, you could argue, I'm not saying this about Kyle Gass in particular, but if someone with enough clout was to express a sentiment that Trump should have been taken out, maybe that inspires more people to follow in their footsteps and try to finish the job.
Yeah, we can't ignore that. But I mean, I think we're
I get it.
I think we're
It's kind of a
long.
stretch.
I think we're long past the, and I think these guys are literally like a comedic performance type of joint. I think we're long past the thing of like, you can make comedic jokes and gestures. Like, we're not gonna rewrite history and like all the things that what's the guy's name? George Carlton and not Carlton. What is it? Carlin or something like that? Forget. Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor. Like, we're not gonna like. Comedians have been saying the wildest shit since the beginning of time. We're not. The jokes are gonna be jokes. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I don't know. This is very difficult. I wouldn't do it in public, right? Obviously. If I did it in private and it became well known, I do kind of feel like I would stand on it, because if I were to make a joke like this, the person would have to be like just straight up evil. Like, there wouldn't really be much middle ground in terms of whether there was any good in the person or not. So I think I would stand on it. And then, or was that was the full extent of the question, right?
Well, yeah, it's. I mean, the joke plays into it, but my thing is more so the sentiment behind the joke on actually wishing death on somebody,
Yeah.
even if they may or may not deserve it. And a joke is a lot different than carrying out the deed. But
How do you tell me if somebody deserves it?
I don't know. That's kind of that's part of the question. Like, if we're talking about like Trump, who many consider to be evil, or Putin, who many consider to be evil, some dictator, like, I mean, Hitler, everyone considers to be evil. But there's kind of like a balance in that. Like you said, Ace, a lot of people are not just straight up the devil, and there's no irredeemable qualities, no people. A lot of people, even if they're like really bad people, if you just say in public, "Oh, I wish this person died," you're gonna get some sideways looks. So I'm not here to argue if Trump belongs in that category or not.
Okay.
My thing is more so just in general, the sentiment behind someone that you think personally, even if they may or may not deserve it, if you think they deserve to die, are you justified to that opinion?
Yeah. The problem is just that it would be so extreme that the situation, like the way you're kind of proposing it, it wouldn't even be a question. Like, but it would almost have to be something where this person has directly done some harm to people I know. Like, there's no question about it.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, like, yeah, of course he.
I kind of wanted to ask, which I'm not going. Don't answer this, but what about Trump?
No.
I mean, okay.
No.
Yeah, like, it has to. If it's not somebody that's like across the, if it's not like a freaking Joseph Stalin, like, if there's any level of like intention, whether they are somewhat level of positive, it was like a, unfortunately, like, if it's not contentious, like, I mean, it's, like, putting that death on somebody is like, I don't know, like, what? Why are we ever doing that? But if you want to joke about it, and that's another thing. Like, I'm surprised. I guess it does involve them being like a public figure, but like, bro, if you were on social media, going back to what we were talking about, like the night this happened, you know how many like jokes, like, when you're playing Call of Duty, but your wife steps in to bother you at the last second. Like, there's so many like people making jokes were flying. Black Twitter was going crazy.
Jokes. The jokes are the jokes, but you might have been seeing different. But I didn't see anyone like actively saying, "Damn, I wish they hit him." It's just a step above for me. But
yeah, I guess you could say like this guy's joke was like whack. Like what? Like what?
Yeah. It's just more so like the explicit. I can't think of the word, but condoning of the action. I don't know if I saw that anyone go that far as this dude did.
Yeah.
I mean, there were definitely some folks that were like, damn, he missed a frowny face, or damn, homeboy got trash aim. Like, dude, like there was a lot of that, but it's just like, you at least gotta be funny. If you're not funny, then it's like, what? But I don't know if the crowd was laughing or not. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
it's very funny.
Curious.
But yeah, I mean, ultimately speaking, I don't think anyone here is gonna come on here and say like, yeah, it's cool to inherently like wish death on somebody, because let's get into like judgment territory. We're not rocking with that. As far as making jokes, yeah, the rule is about that. You just typically have to be funny. If you're not funny, then you're just not gonna get it. But yeah, I mean, as far as like standing on it, I mean, it depends on if you actually feel some level of remorse from about it. And also, whenever you are making jokes, you should have some level of put yourself in that other person's position. Like, imagine if it were you or somebody that you cared about. Like, at the end of the day, like, you know, Trump and other folks, again, unless they are just completely across the board, or the consensus is we don't want them. You know, people got families, people got children, grandkids, like, you know. So if looking back at that joke, you'd be like, and that would be messed up if I was in that person's shoes, then yeah, you might want to pull it back and be like, my bad, I didn't mean like that. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, I guess maybe it's just a me type person. If I say something, I'm probably gonna stand on it. But yeah. Yeah, again, I'm surprised like this guy got caught up in it, because I mean, like, what, like, I would just if you a public figure and you ever get on blast of something everyone else doing, I'd be like, y'all weren't mad when everyone else on Twitter did it.
Yeah, he got the former Prime Minister of Australia criticizing him. Like, damn, they did not like him.
But yeah.
I guess you just gotta be famous enough people to care.
You gotta be funny is what you gotta be. But yeah, that was definitely everyone and their mom had comments about it. Like, so it is what it is. But there's nothing else. Come on to the next topic. I'm thinking about it. This might maybe should have came right after the social media discussion. But salute to Fantasia, still out here and grinding, selling out shows. And at a show they did somewhat recently, they kind of, stopped the show, and they had a message for the crowd. Let's hear what they had to say. It's a minute long, so we might not watch all of it, but judging how the phones are out and they're stopping the show, I think we all know where this is about to go. Play it.
So I'm going to tell you now, we're living in a world where y'all can't have fun because you've been too busy trying to film stuff.
Put down their phones immediately.
And we as performers, we be up here working and y'all.
Damn, they all put it in
Crazy.
their phone.
You know the money that you paid here tonight, you could have done something else with it. So if you paid the money, you might as well get your...
Person recorded still, they don't care.
Come on, young man, go ahead and get your picture. We can get it together. Come on, let's get it out of the way. Young people, he can't take it. He about to have a heart attack. Now you got your picture. Put your phone down. We're going to show you what a party really looks like. Can we party now? You still got your phone up, sis. Stop playing. Put it down.
Damn. Imagine you go to a show, you get lectured on the way. Yeah. Obviously, I think this is a sentiment that we've all heard before. Like, you know, there are some artists that are maybe more purist, and when they on that stage and they're doing their thing, they come from that school of like everyone's in the audience just vibing to it. And I don't know if it's accurate to say you guys are avid showgoers, but I know you guys enjoy a good show, so I'm definitely interested to hear what y'all take is on this type of thing. Because I don't think anyone would ever argue against it, but at the same time, if like kind of like how they say, if I did pay the money to go to the show, don't I have free reign to consume it however I wanted to? And furthermore, some people like the element of recording things, so they can. I don't know people because you'll watch a video of a show, and everyone has their phone out. I don't know if people actually go back and watch those things like years down or months down the line to try to relive it. I don't know what people's interactions with recording shows are, but regardless, like that could be what some people's intent is, that I'm going to record this because like I can look back on it how many ever time in the past or in the future and be like, dang, I was there and this is, you know, a super dope memory. Yeah, as people, I'm trying to think when I go to a show with y'all, I definitely observe not just the artists, I definitely observe y'all as well. Y'all definitely don't have y'all's phones out, but are y'all like ultra opposed to it, or is everyone up to their own however they feel about it? What do you think, Ghost? Actually, I think I started with you last time. All right, what does it matter? What do you think, Ghost?
I am not opposed to it at all. Damn, I'm kind of self-conscious knowing you. You be watching me at shows, but
Definitely be eyeing y'all.
man. So, I am of the camp that I will record shows, songs, fairly often. I don't think I've done it at the last couple ones I've been at, but it just depends on like, for one, if I have phone battery, but
Jesus.
like what type of mood I'm in for it. But whenever I record shows, I do not do it for posting on social media or whatever. I do it exclusively so I can go back.
That is why a lot of
to the
people
music.
record shows.
And it's not even about the memories. I just listen to the music. And I still have shows from years. I have shows from the I think the very first concert I technically went to, the one Makai McCraven back in at Amherst, like years ago. I still listen to that like every once in a while because it was very good. But a lot of people are not like of that mind. The people post it for social media, which I'm not opposed to. I don't have any thoughts on it. I think it's just kind of comes down to a difference in mindset and how you approach shows. Like if I'm going to shows for the music, a lot of people just go for the vibes and for the atmosphere, and that would kind of tie into them posting on social media. As far as like the artists complaining like this, I think Fantasia handled it all right. But if I go to a show and the artist is telling me don't record, blah blah blah, I'm gonna kind of be like, shut up, dude. Like,
Jesus.
We pay the money.
Respect for your artists.
But the respect I'm paying for them is not like, again, if it was impacting the show, that's one thing. Like, I've been to shows where they say no flash or whatever, or, I mean, obviously when you're at a show, you're not going to be talking, making noise.
In their
It's
mind,
like
you are.
Say it again?
I said, in their mind, you are impacting the show. Like your screen
Yeah,
is literally
but
something people are seeing.
but here's
while
here's
they're-
the thing though, like I paid the money, bro. Like I'm respecting you like that. I respect you with my money, and I respect you with my time and attendance. And I don't know. I get you might think, oh, you're impacting the show, but this ain't a movie. Like I feel like recording is part of the live music experience in some form or fashion. It's not always just about recording for the clout, even though for a lot of people it is. And I think lumping everyone who's recording the show into that is just kind of disingenuous because a lot of time people just do want to go back and listen to the music.
Yeah, but that's not even necessarily the like. I don't think the problem for her, and maybe I missed this or I'm misinterpreting. The problem for her is that people are recording for the clout. It's that they're recording at all, and
Yeah, Fantasia didn't care if you want to go back and listen to
But
it. If you're about to post it on social media,
Right.
Fantasia don't care. Not near,
no,
not
but
what
she
your
like
rationale
when she
is.
took a picture with that fan, like she said, "Okay, you got your picture with me. Now put the phone away." To me, that implies that she's thinking that it's just people looking for a moment like that, like for clout. Like it didn't seem like something where she was just like phones, no matter what you're using them for, put them away. Like even her message, like what she said, "Oh,
It
people
could be
gotta work
it
more in
could
the
be
morning."
regarding the picture, but I don't think there's anything definitive because even in that, obviously, most people if they get a picture with a celebrity or an artist, they will post it. That person could have just generally been such a fan of them that they're gonna, you know, frame the picture on a wall or something. Like we don't know if their intention is like this might not be a
Yeah,
clout
yeah,
related as element.
yeah. Like in my mind, that's kind of what I thought she was implying, but I guess we really don't know. But she might have just been opposed to all the phones in general, which I don't know,
I
man.
mean,
Like,
would you have a problem if it was a policy like when you go in, it says no phones, you can't have your phones out?
uh, I would have less of a problem with that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I figured.
I mean, the rules are
I
the rules now.
yeah, the rules are the rules, and when it's said like beforehand, like I kind of my thing is I don't want the artist telling me how to enjoy their music. And if I can experience it later or whatever. And I don't know, this kind of feels like it's bordering on that line. It's about the phones, not the music itself, but part of my enjoyment is knowing that I can record a portion and go back and listen to it and enjoy it then. So I don't know. I might just be particular. Like if I realistically if I was at a show and the artist said put the phones away, I'm gonna put the phone away, but it's mostly because I don't want to get kicked out, and it's not really out of respect for them. If I'm being honest. I don't know. It's probably a flawed way of looking at it, but yeah.
Yeah,
If you're an artist, too, I'm thinking like if you're an artist, focus on making your music, bro. Why are you worried about the crowd?
like I was saying, like Fantasia, and there's definitely some older school artists where they're really so in love with the craft of performing, like they have an idea of what the crowd should consume it as well.
Yeah, and
I
again, they're
guess,
thinking
but
about
I
the
don't wanna be
crowd as a
told.
whole, not necessarily just the person who's recording. Like
But
you
that's
might be getting that benefit, but at the expense of other people having to see your phone up here.
You
while
so
they're trying to
okay.
perform.
I think that point kind of highlights why I wouldn't have a problem if it was a policy beforehand, because then it would kind of imply that it's for like at a movie they tell you turn your phones off beforehand. There's no, it tells you they stop the movie and tells you yeah y'all got to turn your phones
well,
off.
wasn't that originally for like bootlegging purposes?
Yeah, I mean bootlegging and also the light will disturb the other
Yeah.
moviegoers, which is like the point of it. But in this case, if it's not told beforehand, it just kind of feels like an arbitrary thing. Like that she thought of on the spot and not thought out beforehand, which leads me away from the theory of it's for the enjoyment of the crowd. Because if you're so concerned about it, why wouldn't it have been a policy before anyone stepped foot into the venue? Why did it become a policy midway through the show?
Yeah, outside of it being a rule, so you would say like when people have their phones up, it takes away from the show, Ace?
Not for me. I mean, honestly, not for me. But I could understand if an artist has that perspective, or you just somebody else in general has that perspective, that it it ruins their, or maybe not ruins, but takes away from their experience when they have to see everybody with their phones up. Kind of, I mean, it's something you can't not see unless you're right in front of the stage. So I wouldn't be opposed to somebody having that opinion at all.
My bad. Did you have more on that, Ghost?
No, that was all from me.
Fair enough. And what about you, Ace? What do you think of Fantasia's messaging? Do you think when you're at a show, it is the intent to just consume it with your eyes, have that everlasting memory in your brain, or do you think it's completely within somebody's right to record that, save that memory the way they want to?
I don't have a problem with the messaging pretty much at all. I think Fantasia did, in my opinion, it was a pretty great job, and it was kind of humorous too.
I don't know. That last girl, that last homegirl, she was kind of snappy.
Yeah. Up to that point, actually. But before that, like the fact that there were so many people right in front of her with their phones, and she didn't jump right into it. She kind of just slowly got to the point, and it was just like, how awkward would that be if you're right in front of her and you're like, oh, you're talking like literally directly at me? Like, I thought it was just like humorous from that standpoint. So yeah, in that way, I thought it was a good delivery.
I guess rolling it back, because like I said, I peeping you guys sometimes, but I'm obviously watching the show sometimes too. Are you a recorder?
No, I'm not. And I do not record deliberately, because just me personally, I want to be paying as much attention to the artist, to the music, to the band, whatever as possible. And I do feel like recording is a distraction. I have done it one time, and that was specifically to send a text to a few other people, just showing just to show a snippet of the concert.
That's low key. Why? I mean, I also like the memory. That's low key why I sometimes will record, just to, like, if somebody wants an idea of how this show is, you give them a semblance of what it is. Maybe that will inspire somebody else to go to the show.
Yep, that's exactly it. It was like people that there was a group of people that I let them know I was going to the show, and so I was like, oh, should send.
This is what you're missing out on. You should have came.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, maybe that's the next one.
But yeah, I mean, the funny thing there is that was like a microcosm of using social media, because even though I wasn't on social media, like I was sending out a message for other people to see what I was.
Yeah.
Not during the.
I
show.
just realized I took a video
not,
of the Lorraine
not,
concert. I could have sent that to you, Ace, before we went to the.
Oh, you did?
To the other one.
Yeah.
I didn't see. It didn't even cross my mind to do that.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, I mean, if I was a person on social media, more heavily using like Instagram and stuff to post stuff like that, that I probably would be, posting things on social media and be more inclined to record. So I don't have a problem with anybody else doing it. To me, it doesn't affect my experience of the show at all, and I don't know if I can say go this far, but I kind of think in a very odd way it enhances it, because when people
to not record.
No, when they are recording, actually. I mean, I shouldn't say enhances it, but it lets me know that the crowd is engaged with what is being like whatever the band is playing or whatever song is being played. Like when the phones come out, you know it's something that the crowd is hyped for, and I do like when the crowd is engaged in any way versus just like when it feels like the crowd is dead. I don't like being in a crowd where it doesn't feel like they like the artist even besides when they clap at the end. So um that's like just a odd, probably just a me thing, but yeah, either way, the point is that I have no problem with other people recording at all.
On the point of whether it's distraction or not, I can somewhat potentially understand from an artist's perspective. Maybe they feel, I guess maybe slightly tied to the engagement, um, maybe feel like it's more worth it, or they can put their all into it if they can see like all eyes are on them and people are super engaged in their show. But don't a lot of times people record, they're doing like both, like they have their like hand in the air and they got that, but they're
Yeah, like you're watching the show. You're listening to
they're
the
still
show.
watching the
You're
show.
watching your camera if you're recording it.
I mean, I can imagine some.
You're watching your camera, like
Yeah.
No, if you're watching your camera, I can probably see a world in which, not probably, I can see a world in which you're not consuming the show to the fullest because you're watching your phone. Like
right.
you have to make sure your phone's like angled and you're catching the scenes. Like
yeah, you're not
when
shaking.
Yeah. But if you just have it in the air and you're still vibing with the show, is that a big deal? Like, I can't really see in this video, but it seems like some of them are doing just the hand over the thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's completely. I mean, in this case, it's the opinion of the artist that whether that or not they're gonna say something. But I mean, I don't have a problem with it at all, and I don't. Yeah, I mean, if you're not looking directly at your phone screen, then you probably aren't. You aren't taking away too much in terms of your experience, but for your video quality might not be great.
And to what Ghost was, I don't know, to what he was kind of saying. say an artist says, okay guys, put away the phones. You think that people should put away their phones, or you think nah fam, I pay for the ticket?
Me?
I guess you in general.
Yeah. I mean, I think they should. I would. I mean, I definitely would.
So what did I pay for?
You paid to see the artist perform, not to record it.
I mean, I paid for the seat. And I can do whatever I want. Well, not whatever. I can, within the confines of the policy, I can do what I want in this seat.
Yeah, you could do it. You could definitely do it.
Yo, imagine if the artist walked out because of you.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that would be crazy.
Yikes.
Like
you better hope that the crowd can't identify you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nah,
That
you over there with the do rag. Yeah, it's because of you. You didn't put your foot down.
Yikes! That's when you gotta try to blend in or get out of Dodge.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think there's a one for all moral of the story here. I think people definitely consume shows in different ways. I think you should try. I think we would all generally try to be as respectful to the artist as possible. And I think maybe on the artist end they should be conscious of the fact that some people record for various reasons, and as long as you're still getting somewhat you're getting whatever level of engagement that you find acceptable from the crowd. Maybe it's not that big of a deal, but
we haven't even talked about the monetary or aspects of this too, though. Like people posting music to social media that is of an artist that's like copyrighted. Like, isn't there potentially?
Well, none of us are copyright lawyers, but I think
Man,
the logic.
if you get copy striked off of some bad quality video, bro, I swear.
I think the logic is like
too far.
When it comes to copyright, with this rendition or taking of the music potentially take away from sales or streams or spins of the content that the label put out.
Oh yeah.
Nobody's going to, instead of listening to the song, at least on a streaming services or on YouTube, they're gonna go watch your like goes saying crappy ass like version of the song, and
Yeah,
no, it's not happening.
But yeah, I think that actually is something that I thought about a lot when I first started going to concerts. Like, I almost distinctly remember thinking there was probably like a not necessarily a I would be breaking the law if I recorded, but it would be looked at in poor taste because of that, just from that perspective of like you're recording somebody's music when they didn't necessarily give you explicit consent to do that. But the more I saw, or the more I went to concerts and saw people just do it, and it wasn't a problem. I was like, okay, I guess this is just a thing that is fine now.
You know what's interesting? Going back to like the social media topic, I would think like when people like record and like post things, I would think you're incentivizing people to check out this artist and or to go to their shows, so it's actually beneficial for them on a monetary sense.
Yeah,
But
I think if you're a smaller artist, that is the case. If you're a bigger artist, you probably want it flipped, where there's a mystique around your shows and people want to go more. And if they see the videos, like that's what Beyonce, her whole thing, you can't have the phones. But some smaller indie artists, I feel like they definitely want the
exposure. Yeah, that's not
exposure.
That's not a bad point. Yeah, and I was just thinking, but also in this day and age where kind of like what the sister was saying, like depending on how people are consuming your content, like a person might not watch your videos from the live show and be like, damn, I want to go there. Some people might just look at me like, damn, this person's going out to shows. I'm like, I should go out to shows more. Or like I'm kind of like this weird like jealousy thing about it. Like I don't know if it'll actually move people to go buy tickets. It might just people just might look at them. Oh dang, this person's having a blast.
I feel like that's what
wish I was there.
People end up doing it for, but
yeah, that's the only way in which I guess it's not necessarily a productive thing. It's just like you posted it and got a couple likes. Yeah. Which I mean, you're still within your right unless they have a rule about it. Ultimately speaking, when you go to shows, definitely try to get the most personal enjoyment out of it, because they were absolutely correct in the sense that if you spend your money, your hard-earned money, and go see an artist, like your primary objective is to consume that show, get the vibe, enjoy it, and then if you do want to record something for whatever purposes, that could be like an extra thing, but definitely don't let it take away from the main reason why you bought the ticket. I don't think anyone when they're at Ticketmaster like doing the checkout things, okay, I'm gonna record this show, I'm gonna get the angles and all that. Yeah, I don't think people think like that, so no reason why you should take the energy to the actual show. But if nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. I think it's pretty much the last, right? And it's not a whole lot to talk about, but every year we do go over the XXL Freshman list every year, for better, for worse. A lot of these folks end up being even less recognizable than the previous year.
Hey,
but
Big X the plug made it. Okay.
But we gotta run through it, because these might be artists that we end up even rocking with in the future. Unfortunately, the likeliness has reduced in recent years, but still gotta give them their props. So I'll try to illustrate this in a way that people could digest it if they're watching our video. So from bottom left, the homegirl with the long hair and the yellow, that is Lay Banks with a Z. Then we got the homegirl that's right next to her. That's Maya the Dawn. You got a the Dawn in it. And going right to them. Is that Cash Cobain? I think
The
so.
guy with no shirt on?
No, the guy next to him.
Oh.
I think that's
It's
Cash.
their fault for making this so confusing. Like,
No. That's Bossman D-Lo. My bad. The brother with no shirt is for Bats, and the only reason why I kind of know him is because like Hollywood Unlocked has been promoting him a lot for some reason. I don't know.
yeah, I know 4 bats.
Next to them is. Oh yeah, they did collab with Drake. Next to them is probably the most recognized person in my opinion. Scarlett. Salute to Scarlett. Then kind of going above the. Actually, I can't even tell. Man, F this. Anyway, the folks.
This cover is so bad. Like
the folks on this
What
list
is
is
not
Big
like us?
Big X the Plug, That Mexican OT, Lay Banks, Bossman D-Lo, Rich Amari, Scarlett, Honcho, 4 Bats, Maya the Dawn, Cash Cobain, Skilla Baby, and the producer is Southside.
wait, so Sexy Red isn't because she's in the top right.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
I
what
guess
that
that's
is.
something unrelated.
Sexy Red is not on this list.
It's got
Wait,
Ruby
was she-
Rose
was she
there,
a freshman
too.
last year?
Mustard.
I don't
No.
think she was.
No, she never was. I don't
Wait,
Somebody-
are
somebody-
streamers and podcasters ruining at us?
Unironically, a future topic. So yeah, that's the list. If you want to associate the faces with these names, don't worry, we got you. We do come back and review the ciphers, so you don't just get their faces, you get the quality of their music to associate it with them. But yeah, there's nothing much to talk about. I guess we could play how many of these people do you know real quick. How many of these folks have you actually heard of, Ace?
None.
Perfect. Ghost.
I've heard of Cash Cobain, haven't listened to his or hers. I don't even know. Don't
Definitely
know
him.
about him. That Mexican OT and Big X the Plug, I do know. I actually bought a trap from that Mexican OT last week. Oh no, Big X the Plug, I think. And you were hating on it, Ace. But I know
Last
them.
week. You mean last time?
Yeah,
Yeah,
last
last
time.
time we did.
Last month.
I know 4 Bats. I listened to the tracks he's put out, and that's about it.
Nice. I know Scarlett, of course, with the Scarlett. I know 4 Bats just what's that word? Like adjacently, because they're getting a lot of promotion and they did work with Drake. I know Skilla Baby. I know Honcho. Yeah, if you said you bought a Bossman D-Lo record, then I guess I heard it in passing. And I know Cash Cobain, unfortunately, because they were the artists that J. Cole feature the grippy shit.
Oh wait! Oh shoot!
Ugh.
I didn't even realize.
And of course,
It's grippy.
and of course, salute to the producer Southside.
Oh lord!
I will also say shout out to Kendrick. Apparently, I don't know why this list is called Not Like Us.
Yeah, where's the correlation? I don't. Who made this cover, bro?
You know what's crazy? I can imagine I don't know. I guess you can relate to this, Ghost. So sorry, you guys, this one out. You know how in high school when your class graduates, you have a slogan, and it's typically associated to the year. Like, I'm dating myself, and I'm probably gonna get last at the park. But our slogan back in the day was, what was it? I might have to pull up my shirt. It was like, we were the 1-2. I don't know. It was something.
Yeah, that's trash, bro.
It was something stupid. It was something stupid. But regardless, the slogan for all the little freshmen this year is gonna be Not Like Us.
Yeah. That's
Bro,
Like-
no original.
Like, hey man, Kendrick really made something crazy.
Wow.
It's not like it was bigger than Back to Back.
Yeah.
By numbers,
Oh
it probably
yeah.
has.
Oh
Gotta
yeah.
be. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Dang, Kendrick really made a bigger banger than the banger artist. I don't want to revisit this beef, but damn, it was so. It's so like unanimous, ain't it?
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, yeah. You all gotta give the XXL Freshman a bit of salute because obviously it is a incredible benchmark. As the millions of SoundCloud artists and artists that even have ascended a bit above that, and are trying to make it. This definitely puts their names and faces in front of people that like Double XL and magazines in general are kind of a thing of the past, but this list every year gets a decent amount of recognition. So yeah, like I said, we'll revisit with them when the ciphers are all out, which I believe at the time of recording should be on like the coming week, so that should be coming up soon.
Oh, it's about that time again, huh?
Yes, indeed. But there's not much more to talk about with them. So if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic, which I think that's all the topics. Got addressed some quick, get it off your hearts, get it off your chest. Got to give a quick rest in peace. Richard Simmons, the whole legend fitness guru that you haven't really heard about really lately, but they passed at 76. That median or average life for him, man. But yeah, I think everyone you just bumped into him or a parody of them. So yeah, salute to them. Iconic.
Yep, definitely iconic.
But yeah, I think that was it. I don't think there's anything else to get off my heart or my chest. Summer sucks. That's what last thing I got to say. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a negative Nathan, but it just ain't it.
Bro, this heat has been like absurd. Bro.
You know what I will say. My last thing. Salute to all the folks that live in Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada. I still don't quite fathom how they deal with their summer heats. I mean, I guess they just have really great central air systems, but yeah, that sounds like damn near one of the closest things to hell. If you envision hell to be a hot place. Anyway, but if there's nothing else, I guess we're done here. And like we always do at the end of the podcast, let me actually switch it over to this. Like we always like to do at the end of these podcasts, you know what they say about having something to look forward to. What y'all got? What's on your mind? What y'all looking forward to?
You first, Ghost.
Man, some concerts. Check out the Deadpool movie.
The Wolverine crush?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So,
If you
like,
like
you're not
it.
looking forward to it, but
It's not that I'm not. I actually, what's crazy? I actually went back and watched the first Deadpool after like some years and years, and even though Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds, I understood how people can get enjoyment from it, and they got
Ryan Reynolds here too. Dang.
Ryan Reynolds is like damn at least funny person, probably in the last a lot of years. But anyway, they got Hugh Jackman too. That could be a really good movie, or it could be a really good movie. I'll leave it at that.
For me, I guess I will just go with a concert next week as well.
Dang. Back to back to back
Maybe
to
we
back
should
shows.
link this one up. I mean, I should send you guys the link for this one. We gonna go, but yeah, I saw Faye Webster and Julie. This band called Julie.
Oh, you're
Which-
going to that?
Yeah, I still want to go. I need to buy the tickets, but I still want to go. My sisters will go too.
That's for
Have you
me.
listened to Faye Westford? I told you
A
to.
bit, not too much.
Yeah. As for me, I also really like a lot of stuff happening in the summer, but currently there's a lot of expos going on, specifically Evos going on, and also the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG North American World Qualifiers. So there's a lot of tournament and gaming content out right now, and this is definitely one of my weekends where I'm more so just chilling at the crib and consuming a lot of it, even though there's still a bunch of crap I got to do. But yeah, it's the main thing I'm looking forward to currently. Yes, and out there, make sure you have something to look forward to, because you know what they say about something to look forward to. But nice. This one actually kind of went on a little longer, but it didn't feel like a waste of time. So I definitely give a lot of props and thanks to y'all for coming out here and doing this podcasting, especially in the heat. I love not like recording outside or anything. And we give great thanks to any and all listeners. We greatly appreciate y'all. We hope that by listening to us, that you might have gained a perspective, or you might have learned something new. Like the fact that depending on how much hours you spend on social media, your IQ test might be looking a little poor, or we hope that you found this entertaining. But if none of that happened for you, then all we have to say to you is be warmed and be filled. Thank you.